I don't even want to think about how many Stormtroopers I have owned. Now I own another one. Is there any design more badass than these guys? Like, I mean, even as a small child, I was like, that is one of the great physical designs in the history of the universe. Like, this is just tremendous. I think I've owned a Stormtrooper in every Star Wars line incarnation that has ever been, all the way back to Kenner. But also remember those roided up ones from Power of the Force 2? That guy. And then like in 99, they were like, let's fix that and make a Stormtrooper that looks like a person. So they did that one. Then it was all about clone troopers. Clone troopers galore. And there was a brief time when the prequels were coming out when I was like, clone troopers are better. They're not better. Most of the Stormtroopers I've ever had, I don't think I have anymore, honestly. I think one of the big problems with this figure, anyone who's been collecting a while knows what I'm going to say. Any incarnation of a Stormtrooper, 9 times out of 10, those guys turn yellow, which just isn't what you want for one of the great visual designs of all time. This white armor turning yellow, but that's what happens. So, you know, as my numbers of Stormtroopers yellowed, I began to replace them. And also, I don't have a lot of Empire on my shelf, so there wasn't much here. That being said, the First Order Executioner is one of my favorite figures. I love that figure. And the Stormtrooper from Mimbin, the one from Solo, the vintage collection figure from Solo, whew, that is a great figure. But Hasbro has gone, and this is actually, I just learned this moments ago. This is a re-release actually of a Stormtrooper that they released in 22. That was, I believe, a Walmart exclusive. It is no longer a Walmart exclusive. It is VC231, and it is from the original Star Wars. Terrible card back. Sorry, but no. That is not the film out that we want to see on the Stormtrooper. We want to see the one with the pinkish blast. But anyway, whatever. Here we go. Not as pungent as they can sometimes be. This is so Malibu Stacy has a new hat, but the big selling feature of this guy is that he's got that really weird long black holster that the Stormtroopers, I believe, were only sporting in what we now call Episode 4, A New Hope, but what for certain people of a grayish beard like myself will always be called Star Wars. Yeah, we didn't know how bad we had it back in the day, because there was certainly a time when a Stormtrooper with 5 or even 7 points of articulation was a big deal. And now this guy, he is here for the articulation. Huge are these what are called barbell hips? People who know about things, here, let's look straight up his skirt. Is that a barbell hip? I don't know. If you wanted to do crazy posing for your Stormtrooper, you could. For me, that kind of isn't actually how I think of Stormtroopers. Like, I think of them being very kind of ramrod straight and probably pretty uncomfortable under the helmet. But just the thing that was scary about them was just the sheer ubiquity. You know, that there were so many that, you know, right from the beginning of Star Wars, they come pouring through that door on the blockade runner, and they're just more and more and more. And yeah, you could argue that some of them are terrible shots. Doesn't matter. There's going to be more. One of the things I really loved about Andor, especially in the first season, is the degree to which they made Stormtroopers scary again, because they kind of held them back for the first half of the first season. You know, you didn't really see a lot of Stormtroopers, and then they start showing up on Ferrix, and it's like, oh, this is about to get really serious. Like they were leaving the Ferrix problem to the Corpos up till now, but the Empire is directly stepping in, and this is going to be trouble. His only accessory, a Stormtrooper blaster. What a surprise. I know there were Stormtroopers with the long gun. I'm sure that Hasbro eventually is going to re-release this guy with a long gun. Speaking of re-releases, you know what would make me real happy is if they re-released that orange pauldron Sand Trooper on a card so that I could buy him without buying the other 2 figures that I don't really... I mean, I'm being a bit churlish there. Like, that Biker Scout is a really good figure. I have the one that came with the speeder. And I don't have the vintage collection Snowtrooper, so I should really just bite the bullet and buy that 3-pack, but I haven't done it. Oh, and speaking of Stormtroopers, it's almost Halloween. If anyone bought the zombie troopers from Ahsoka, I am really on the fence about those guys. I don't know. Something about the idea of those characters bothers me, but I admit that they are great looking toys. And might be a fun thing to have on the display, particularly around this time of year. So if you bought that, let me know. There's your Stormtrooper. Yeah, you see one of these guys, or worse, 11 of these guys coming, you better turn and walk in the other direction. This is fascism writ large.